Hello board game brothers and sisters, I'm Adam Singer and welcome to another episode where I'll be letting you know of Kickstarters launching this week. If you're new to the channel, we do this every week covering all the Kickstarters and GameFound campaigns coming down the line. And if you want to see campaigns further into the future, I also run a Discord where we track every game that we know of, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But before we get started, I did just want to give a quick shout out to another channel that I just discovered that I think you might like. And the channel is just called Grant Lion, and it is another board game channel. And one of the things that makes his channel really interesting is that he actually covers all the upcoming games going to retail. In other words, all the forgotten games. Retail games just don't get enough coverage compared to Kickstarter games, so it's really cool to see him doing this. And also it pairs really well with the content I'm offering, so if you like this sort of content, I think that you'll like his as well. He's also a comedian, so he's almost as funny as me, and he actually has published his own board game as well. So pretty cool to see all the work this guy's doing. Make sure to check out his channel, give him a subscribe, and check out some of his videos. It really helps encourage us content creators to create more content. My current source for upcoming retail games is just refreshing the pre-order page for my favorite retailer. So content like this is definitely appreciated, and I love to see more. But with all that out of the way, let's check out the campaigns. And the first campaign we have launches on August 10th, and it's called Masters of the Universe Fields of Eternia. And this is actually a team-based game that plays 1 to 6 players and takes about 90 to 180 minutes to play. So you're going to be playing in a team versus team mode of good versus evil. But the nice thing about this game is you can also play fully cooperative because there's a simple to use AI that you can use for the opponent's team. At the start of the game, players split up into factions, each with their own abilities and goals, and there's going to be 3 characters per faction. And of course, each of these characters are going to come with their own 32mm miniature. And from what I've been reading, it seems like they're putting a lot of focus into these miniatures and the quality of these miniatures. They're going to be fully plastic, not PVC, and they're also putting a lot of effort into sculpted bases as well, which you can see on all these miniatures here. So if you're a fan of He-Man and you want to find some high quality miniatures, this is probably some of the best on the market right now. And even though this is a team-based game of good versus evil, this game isn't entirely combat. There's actually quite a large focus on adventure. And players are going to be traversing the different mountains, swamplands, and forests throughout the map. And as you explore, you can build vehicles to help you move along the map, or you can actually tame different wild beasts and actually ride them as a mount. And you're going to be collecting different artifacts in order to gain points, and you're going to be building up your army to fight back against the opposing team and maintain control or gain control of different outposts so that you can gain access to the different locations there, such as shops, forges, and guilds, where you can do different things like buy spells to upgrade your characters, buy different equipment and items to also upgrade your characters. And on your turn, you get 2 actions per hero, and you can perform each action only once, and those actions are to move throughout the map, or you can choose to brave the wilds, and you can only do this if you're on a portion of the map that does not have a town or village on it. And when you brave the wild, you'll be drawing a card from the encounter deck and fighting against a beast. The neat thing about fighting against the beast is that it's just a single die roll in conjunction with some of your stats and items, and defeating a beast actually gains you some special upgrades that you can use in the more complicated battles of PvP. You can also fast travel between the different towers that you own, and you can mobilize your soldiers into the world. And like I said, you can also go on quests, which you spend an action for, and finally you can rest to heal up your characters. The game plays over 12 rounds and ramps up with more action as the game progresses because beasts are going to get stronger and stronger throughout the game, and you're going to be leveling up your characters as the game goes on. And doing all that leads up to more epic clashes between the teams. And the whole point of this game is to get the most victory points at the end of the game, and you're going to be getting those by finishing different objectives, defeating your enemies, and conquering most of the lands. And something I really like about GameFound campaigns is that you can see a lot of the campaign before it even starts, and that includes the pledge levels, so you can go ahead and check those out. And this is not an inexpensive game. Another nice thing about GameFound campaigns is nearly all of them offer some sort of incentive for you to follow along and be early to check out the campaign. And this one's going to offer you a free bonus character. This campaign's also offering a 14-day money-back guarantee, which I really like to see. This is standard on Kickstarter, but I don't think GameFound enforces this. But it's nice to see the publisher going out of their way to do this anyway. If this campaign sounds interesting to you, you can find the link in the description below. And the next campaign is also on August 10th, and it's called Flamecraft, and this plays 2 to 5 players and takes about 60 minutes to play. And this game is all about artesian dragons, and in this game you are a flame keeper, which means that you can communicate with these dragons. And these dragons all have different skills. Some might be great at baking, while others might be great at different things like gardening, alchemy, blacksmithy, or even being a bartista. And your job as a flamekeeper is to converse, enchant, and house these dragons so that you can pair them with different shopkeepers around town so that the dragons can share their crafts with the world. And this one's going to be our Discord pick of the week. And this is an interesting one. It does use worker placement, but also has a shared engine building concept where players will be upgrading different shops with their dragons. And then then you're going to be upgrading those shops how you want them to be upgraded, but then other players that use that shop will also be able to benefit from it. And players are going to be doing all this to gain the most reputation as they compete for different goals and endgame bonuses. And this one's also going to be my pick of the week. The artwork in this game is also incredibly well done, and it comes from an artist that's established and specializes in drawing different dragons. She also has quite a large range of style, which you can see from her portfolio, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. Definitely go ahead and check that out if you like the sort of artwork. You can even go ahead and purchase some of this artwork if you want to support her, and also get some really nice artwork for yourself. And that's not the only impressive member on the team. The main designer also has a few games under their belt. I'm not too familiar with these games or the designer, but they seem to be lighter weight games, which I think fits the expectations of this game. But also not to be overlooked are the developers of the game, and one of these developers actually helped create one of my favorite games, which is Dwellings of Eldervale. So I'm expecting this game to be easy to teach and play, but I'm also expecting enough depth and strategy there to satisfy both the leisurely gamers and some of us looking for a little bit more. If you want to dig into more of the gameplay details than what I'm providing here, definitely head over to Quackalope's channel because they put out a preview video digging into all the details of the game, which should help you decide if this is a game for you. Another cool thing that this team is doing that I just think is a lot of fun is they put together a few different puzzles that you can go ahead and challenge on their website. And there's a few different ones and they definitely do make you think, but if you can complete just one of them, then you'll get a free dragon miniature along with your pledge. So if you want to get a free miniature added to your pledge, I definitely recommend completing at least one of these. Or if you just enjoy the puzzles, these are a lot of fun to try and solve. The ones that I thought were the easiest to complete were the smithy puzzle, which is puzzle number 3, and the bakery puzzle, which is puzzle number 1. The gardener puzzle has my favorite answer of them all, but it is a little bit more intensive to try and complete. If you struggle with any of these, feel free to leave a comment down below and maybe I can give you some hints. And don't forget, you can always click to get notified, and I'll have links to all these campaigns in the description below. Also on the 10th, we have Amass, and this plays 1 to 6 players and takes about 60 minutes to play. And this game takes players onto an alien planet where the goal is to try and complete your mining contract and collect the most valuable resources that that planet has to offer. This is not a friendly game because there's limited resources and players are going to be fighting for those resources scattered across the planet. Players can try and raid other players' crew encampments to try and steal their resources, but you're not just going to be on the lookout for each other. There's also hostile native aliens that aren't so happy about you being here and can attack at any moment. Each turn, new resources appear across the planet, and players are going to secretly plan their actions to try and acquire those resources. After all the placements are revealed, mining crews fight each other for those resources. If some of your team does get defeated and placed on the wound tracker, they will heal over time and eventually make it back to your crew. The hostile aliens will roam around the map, and fighting them isn't always bad because defeating them can gain you new action cards which you can use in future battles. The game ends when one player has succeeded in filling their base with all the resources that they can fit. All those resources are then counted up, and the crew that has the highest value of resources wins the game. Also on the 10th, we have a campaign for the Reiner Knizia's Criminal Capers collection, which is a set of 3 games all designed by Reiner Knizia, which share a common theme of criminal syndicates or undercover investigations. And the first game in the list is Soda Smugglers, and this plays 3 to 8 players and takes about 20 minutes to play. And in this game, the lawmakers are cracking down on soda, and you're only allowed to have 1 bottle per person. Of course, you can never have enough sugar, so naturally this is going to form a black market. And in this game, players are going to be taking turns as the border guard trying to confiscate as many sodas as possible. When you're not the border guard, you're going to be a traveler using bribing and bluffing to try and sneak as much soda across the border as you can. The game ends after each player has been the border guard either once or twice, depending on the player count, and whoever has the most bottle caps at the end of the game wins the game. And the next game in the lineup is called Pumafiosi, and this plays 2 to 5 players and takes about 10 to 30 minutes to play. And in this game, players are all part of a criminal syndicate, and you're trying to reach the highest ranks of that hierarchy. And to do this, players are going to be using a combination of trick-taking and push your luck. This game puts a little twist on trick-taking because you don't want to be the highest card in the trick, because standing out too much will get you caught by the fuzz. So instead of playing the highest card, you want to play the second highest card to win the trick. When you win a trick, you'll get to decide where to place that winning card into the hierarchy of the syndicate. Placing higher gains you more points at the end of the game, but cards can be knocked down by higher value cards by other players, which will give you a penalty and cause you to lose points throughout the game. This brings in that push your luck aspect because you can try and go for more points, but that also introduces more risk to your strategy. And the final third game is called Hot Lead, and this plays 2 to 5 players and takes about 20 minutes to play. And in this game, players are criminal investigators investigating 5 criminal groups to gather enough evidence to convict them, but without tipping them off. This game uses a push your luck mechanism for investigation and then uses sealed bid auctions for gathering evidence. Each round, players are going to be bidding to take the criminal card closest to the deck, and the highest bidder takes the first card, the second highest takes the second card, and so on and so forth. And you're going to be trying to gather enough evidence on one criminal organization to convict them for bonus points. To do this, you're going to be trying to get specific cards, so you're going to be attempting to make bids to get you the cards that you want. But you'll want to be careful with how you bid, because if you bid too aggressively relative to the other players, you're going to tip off those criminals and they're going to get away before you have an opportunity to claim your card. If you're a Knizia fan, or if these games sound interesting to you, definitely go ahead and check them out in the description below. And the next campaign is for AdverCity, and this plays 3 to 4 players and takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. And in this game, players are mayors of a town that's doomed for destruction. Different destructive forces are looming over your towns, and it's going to be up to you to prepare your town for the impending doom. To prepare your town, you're going to be trying to gain different resources. You're going to be building a little bit of an engine. Players are going to be trying to gain different building cards to produce these resources. On each turn, a player is going to roll a die, and depending on the value rolled, your building may or may not produce different resources. With the resources you gain, you can buy more buildings, trade with other players, or feed your population. Disaster rounds occur throughout the game according to the Doomsday calendar, and these can wipe out your population or your resources. And to win the game, you want to have the highest population among all the players at the end of the Doomsday calendar. This one seems like it might be a slightly simpler alternative to Fantastic Factories, but with a much more exciting theme in my opinion. Also on the 10th, we have No Escape Redemption, and this plays 2 to 8 players and takes about 30 to 60 minutes to play. And this is actually an expansion for the game No Escape. And in the game No Escape, you're trying to be the first to escape a collapsing space station. On your turn, you're going to play an action and then place a tile on your opponent's path to try and make their escape a little bit more difficult. And then you're going to use a dice rolling mechanism to determine the movement that you can take for your own character. This expansion includes 4 micro expansions. 2 of them are going to be 2 new game modes, and then the other ones are going to add gear and make the station more precarious and dangerous. The 2 new modes are going to completely change the way that you play the game. The first one's going to be the last off mode, where you're trying to be the last player off the station and you're trying to trick all the players into leaving prematurely. The second one is the saboteur mode, where all escape pods are locked under a security code, and you're going to have to decide who are your allies and who are your enemies as you try and figure out those security codes and escape the station. The damage expansion adds some new tiles where the hull of the station is cracking, and players have to be careful in these sections because any wrong movements can cause more damage to those areas, preventing you from being able to pass. And the equipment expansion is the one that sounds most exciting to me because it introduces a whole lot of new equipment to the game, where you can swap out your jetpack for other gear to help in the different situations that you might find yourself in. Also on the 10th, we have Wicked and Wise, and this plays 2 to 6 players and takes about 45 to 60 minutes to play. And in this game, players can have one of 2 roles. You can either be a dragon, where your role is to play the actual trick-taking game, or you can be a mouse, where your role is to be partnered with one of the dragons, and you're going to be playing cards to manipulate the trick-taking game to your team's benefit. Cards in this game have 2 purposes. The top of the card has a suit and a number that you'll be using for your trick-taking portion of the game, and then the bottom of the card has a special ability that the player playing the mouse uses to try and manipulate the game. The game plays over 3 rounds, and each team is going to be competing for tricks, treasures, and coins, but this game is less about winning the tricks and more about completing goals. Treasure cards allow players to perform some special actions to help their team or sabotage their opponent. Doing all this well will net you coins, and the team with the most coins at the end of the game wins the game. And next on the 10th, we have the Mausritter RPG, which is an established indie role-playing game. But this is going to introduce a revamped starter set and a new collection of adventures for players to explore. This is also going to include completely updated artwork for the entire set. And this role-playing game features a simplified D&D rule set utilizing a single D20 and 3 core traits, which are strength, dexterity, and will. And the combination of those elements are going to dictate whether you succeed or fail throughout the game. This looks like a much more accessible RPG that you could play with younger players or with people that haven't played a role-playing game before. And now getting to August 12th, we have Kingdoms Rise and Fall Dorian, and this plays 3 to 6 players and takes about 60 to 360 minutes to play. And the reason that there's such a large range in the playtime is that you can actually configure how long you want the game to be. And this is a deck building game set in a fantasy world. Players are going to be playing their own unique characters that they're going to develop throughout the game by using the deck building mechanism. And you're going to be building up your deck with a certain style depending on your character, which is either physical, magic, or stealth. Players are going to be exploring the 4 provinces of the world, and they're going to be leading their army to try and capture villages and different sites across the board. This game features a high level of player interaction, as you'll be engaging in battle to defeat your rival armies, or you might choose to negotiate with them instead, and if they're foolish enough to go along with your proposition, you can also betray them as well. This game does feature a couple alternate winning conditions, but the main goal of the game is to gain the most influence points, which you'll be doing through area control and completing different objectives throughout the game. And that's it for this week, but don't leave yet because we have a few awesome giveaways to announce and you don't want to miss out on these. And the first giveaway we have is for a pledge for Lands of Galzyr, and this is a game that can be played both competitively or cooperatively, and it's an open world adventure exploration game where players are going to be completing different quests to earn points, and you're going to be making different actions and decisions along the way that are actually going to affect the world as you move forward throughout the game. And this is a game that actually remembers the things you do, because all the actions and decisions you make are going to leave an impression on the world that you'll see the next time that you pull the game off the shelf. This means that each game that you play will be its own game, but it will continue from where your last game left off. So the world is going to be constantly changing, and you're going to have a little bit different of a starting situation each time you play. All this tracking is built into the game, so you don't need any manual bookkeeping, and this is going to be managed through an app known as the Book of Adventures. And in order to try and complete a quest, you're going to be rolling different dice for your skill checks, and the dice that you have access to are going to be dependent on the skills that you've built up throughout the game. You might have to complete a quest in a different way depending on the skills that you have, and those will have their own ramifications and outcomes to the game as a whole. Each game takes place over an in-game month, and there's a calendar on the board that tracks the time and also keeps track of any upcoming events and markers that might have been put on that calendar. A neat thing about the quests is that they can actually behave a little differently depending on the day of the week that you encounter them. And this giveaway is going to be for the base game pledge, which comes with the core game as well as all unlocked stretch goals. Intent of this giveaway, I'm going to make you work a little bit harder for it, but it's going to be fun. All you have to do is head over to Grant Lyon's YouTube channel and check out the video for the best board games coming to retail July and August 2021. And I'll leave a link to that somewhere up here, and all you have to do is leave a comment on that video with the hashtag retail and let him know which of the games that he covered is one that you're most excited about. And if you like his content, definitely give him some words of encouragement and a like and subscribe so that he puts out more content like this in the future. Bringing some attention to some honest good channels is something that I really like to do, but I haven't really done it in a while, which is too bad because I have much more subscribers now than I did back when I did this more frequently, so we can make much more of an impact. Plus, I just think it's hilarious to try and spam these channels as much as possible. But the fun doesn't stop there, because the next giveaway we have is for a pledge for Legend Academy. And in this game, players are going to be different characters from different folklore and stories, and you'll recognize some of these characters such as Little Red Riding Hood, Alice in Wonderland, Paul Bunyan, and Robin Hood. These are the characters available in the core game, but I do expect much more to become available through stretch goals. And this is a competitive Euro-style game that combines deck building, worker placement, dungeon crawling, and a whole ton of upgrades that you're going to unlock throughout the game. At the start of the game, players are going to choose a character to play and an adventure that they want to play through. Thematically, this is a really neat idea because it allows you to take all these different characters and mix and match them with some other characters' stories, such as The Jungle Book, Gulliver's Travels, or Treasure Island. Each adventure has 2 parts to it, and players are going to be alternating between an adventure phase and a school phase. During the school phase, you're going to be leveling up your character, adding new cards to your deck, and unlocking different actions in your skill tree. This game also layers card construction on top of it because you'll actually be able to level up each of your cards up to 2 times. With your upgraded character, you're going to venture off into the adventure phase where you're going to go on different quests and complete different objectives to earn victory points to help you win the game. The game uses a neat stamina card mechanism that determines how many action cards that you can play, and every adventure is going to introduce its own mechanisms and opportunities to gain victory points. And the player who does all of this the best at the end of the game wins the game. And this giveaway is going to be for the Legends Academy Deluxe Edition, and to enter this giveaway, I'm going to send you over to another up-and-coming YouTube channel. And this creator is actually a friend of mine, and I found out about one of her videos, I think through my Facebook feed, which I hardly ever go on, so I'm sorry for not finding out about your channel sooner. But I'm not just sharing her channel because she's a friend. Her content's actually really good. She does bite-sized videos and does a much better job than I did when I started my channel. And I think you'll like it because it is actually somewhat board game related, because she actually works in the packaging space, specializing with cardboard and paper products. And in her most recent video, she actually explains a little bit of the packaging and supply issues that we're facing right now, and she might give you a little insight into why some of your campaigns are being delayed and why a lot of these prices for board games have skyrocketed in the last year. I'll leave a link to that video right up here, and all you have to do to enter this giveaway is leave a comment on that video with the hashtag cardboard. And if you like her content, definitely give her a like and subscribe, and check out her other videos as well. And feel free to leave her some words of encouragement, because starting a small YouTube channel is not easy. And the last giveaway we have is for Chili Mafia, and this plays 2 to 8 players and takes about 20 to 40 minutes to play. And this is a fast-paced competitive set collection party game. And you can play this either as a free-for-all or as a team-based game. And this game uses drafting to get your starting hand, and then throughout the game you're going to be trying to gather more cards, perform different actions against your opponent players, or form chili gangs of your own. To form a chili gang, you need at least 3 cards that are all completely different or all completely the same. The neat thing about forming gangs is it determines how many action cards you can use on your turn. Creating gangs of different cards nets you the total points on the cards, but if you make gangs of the same cards, you actually gain double the amount of points. Other players can try and knock cards out of your gang, but one of the actions on your turn is that you can add cards to an existing gang as well. As players take their turns and draw from the deck, that deck's going to deplete, and there's 1 card in that deck that stops everything, and all players get to rearrange their cards however they see fit. And then the game continues until the entire deck is depleted, and at that point the player with the most points wins the game. And this giveaway is going to be for the Hell on Earth pledge, which is your all-in pledge that includes everything from the previous pledges, as well as a playmat, a sticker sheet, all the expansions and Kickstarter exclusive cards, and a 3-pack of real hot sauces. And this is a party game that if I'm going to play a party game, it's probably going to be this one because it has really good design. I go into more detail on this in my previous video, so check that out if you want to know more. And also Brian over at Game Brigade did a first impressions video, and he said that he's been playing this game quite a lot and it's made its way into their usual game sessions. It's definitely one worth checking out, but it's always better to win a game than buy it. So to enter this giveaway, just head over to Brian's video and just leave any comment that you want with the hashtag HOT in it. And I know Brian's been experimenting with a few different types of videos lately, so if you have any ideas for videos that you'd like to see more of in the board game space, definitely leave him a comment, and if it's something that he's interested in trying, I know he'll do a great job of it. Now let's go ahead and draw the winners for last week's giveaways, and to draw a winner I use this fancy application here, and all these extra names down here are bonus entries for my Patreon subscribers. If you like this sort of content and want to help with the channel, definitely check out the Patreon. I'll have a link to that in the description below, and it also gets you some nice bonus entries into these giveaways. So let's go ahead and draw those comments and draw a winner. And the winner is Clint Cabrera, and this is one of our Patreon subscribers, so congratulations Clint. I know how you like your games, so I hope this one brings a lot of chaos to your table. And the next giveaway we had was for Zorro, the dice game, the Stunts and Allies expansion, and this was for both the core game and the expansion. And let's go ahead and draw those comments and draw a winner. And the winner is Miss Raindrop with just a humble comment of hashtag Zorro. Congratulations, just give me an email over at adam@shelfclutter.com and we'll get that pledge all sorted out for you. And the last giveaway was donated by the team for Not Enough Mana, which you can go ahead and check out on Kickstarter now, and this is a drinking game. And this is from the same team that actually created the video game Super Hot, so they actually donated 10 Steam keys for the game Super Hot. I gave away 7 of those, 1 each day over the last week over on the Discord, so if you entered in those giveaways, definitely check your notifications and see if you won. But I left 3 of them for over here that we'll give away now. So let's go ahead and draw the first winner. And the winner is Rob Bendig. So let's go ahead and draw another winner. And the winner is Will Nayugan, also from Patreon. And the third winner is Howard Abraham. So I'll reach out to all 3 of you on Patreon and send you your Steam keys. Congratulations to all the winners and good luck in next week's giveaways. Until next time, keep that shelf cluttered and the table full.